From Perbanas Institute Jakarta, Indonesia, we welcoming you to the second day of the first Perbanas International Conference on Economics, Business, Management, Accounting, and IT, Proficient 2023. The committee would like to express gratitude to all the sponsors who have collaborated and provided great support for this event. The sponsors involved are as follows: Bank Indonesia, PT Bank Mandiri Persero Tbk, PT Bank Negara Indonesia Persero Tbk, PT Bank Sentral Asia Tbk, PT Bank Rakyat Indonesia Persero Tbk, Lembaga Penjamin Simpanan, PT Permodalan Nasional Madani, PT Alobank Indonesia Tbk, PT Sompo Insurance Indonesia, PT Bank Tabungan Negara Persero Tbk, PT Bank DKI, PT Bank Syariah Indonesia Tbk, PT Bank BJB, PT Bank Danamon Tbk, PT Bank Victoria International Tbk, PT Bank Mandiri Taspen, PT Garuda Indonesia Persero Tbk, PT Bank Muamalat Indonesia, BPJS Ketenagakerjaan, PT Bank CMB Niaga Tbk, PT Makarti Maju Mandiri, dan Majalah Stabilitas. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, dan salam kebajikan. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and we welcome you again at the second day of the International Seminar of Perbanas Institute. All the conference agenda on the first day has already proceeded successfully, and from the beginning until the call for prayer session. On the second day of the conference, there are several activities that we are going to carry out. The first will be seminar with the IT topic of IT in banking and finance, featuring competent speakers from national and international, and also call for paper activity. And in the afternoon session, there will be an international community services program. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we will now proceed to the main agenda in the morning session, which will be presentation by our panelists who will discuss the topic of IT, banking, and finance. But before I hand over to the moderator, Ibu Mardiana, I would like to invite all the speakers to for the awarding certificate. So first, I would like to invite the first speaker, Professor Dr. Haryadamar Widiputra. Please come on stage, sir. And then the one and only Ibu Aneka Faisal. Please come forward. And then next, Mr. Agra M. Nugraha. And the last, Professor Rajendra Sonar will be joining us virtually. Okay. And also for the moderator, Ibu Mardiana, Ibu Dr. Mardiana, please come forward. And the certificate will be presented by our Rector, Professor Hermanto Siregar. Please remain on the stage as our photographer will take pictures. So please kindly, I want to invite Ibu Dana to join us, and also Prof. Haryono Umar, and also Professor Step Subanija, and also Ibu Esti Aryani. Esti. And let's have a big applause for all the panelists and moderator. Well, thank you. Please kindly return to your seat. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, allow me to introduce Ibu Dr. Mardiana, who will serving as the seminar moderator. Ibu Mardiana, please show the CV of Ibu Mardiana. Okay, Ibu Mardiana or Dr. Mardiana Purwaningsih hold the Master Information Technology and Management Information System from two different universities, from Ersa School of Information Technology and Budi Luhur University, and also Computer Science Doctoral Program at the Faculty of Computer Science of University of Indonesia. And she has also have many experience, especially in the research and writing paper in many reputable journals, international journals, and also reviewer in various reputable in the international journals. So please, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ibu Dr. Mardiana.
Thank you, Mas Adi. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, we meet again in the second day of Perbanas International Conference on Economic, Business, Management, Accounting, and IT, Proficient 2023. And the theme is Enhance the Role of Banking Industry on Supporting Sustainable and Inclusive Economic Transformation. And we have the IT track today, as we know that the development of information technology has led the digital economy, a radical transformation of the financial sector, covering the activity of bank, insurer, and other financial organizations. And now we have four speakers that delivering the material about how to support, how IT can support the sustainable and inclusive economic transformation. And now I would like to invite the honorable speaker for this session. The first is Professor Dr. Harya Damar Widiputra, STM.Com IPM from Perbanas Institute, Indonesia. Please welcome, sir. And the second is Professor Mahendra M. Sonar from Indian Institute of Technology that will join with us by the Zoom. Then Ibu Anika Faisal, Commissioner Bank Jago Indonesia. Please welcome Ibu. And the last is Bapak Arga M. Nugraha, Director of Digital and Information Technology BRI Indonesia. Please welcome Bapak. Okay, we will start the panelist system. The speaker will deliver all material and we open the question and answer after the panelists offer. So the participation can prepare the question and will be the addresses to the speaker. Then we have 5 e-wallet for the best question. Okay, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we start to the first panelist, Professor Dr. Haria Damar Widiputra. So I will read the CV of Prof. Haria. CV Prof. Haria, Panitia? Can you show the CV of, okay, yes. Prof. Haria have the education of Ph.D. in Computing and Mathematical Science from Auckland University Technology, Auckland, New Zealand, and he also the Vice Rector Academic and IT, Perbanas Institute, and on the Vice Rector Academic and Planning from January 2023 until now. You have about 10-15 minutes for presentations here. Okay, time is yours.
Thank you, Bu Mardiana. Good morning, everyone. Bu Anika, Pak Arga, and also Professor Raj. Professor Raj joining us from, joining us from India. Yeah, I have, let's say 10 minutes or maybe 15 minutes, and I'm going maybe to share at the beginning about the current trends of IT in general, and how it can actually be used in banking from maybe academic or theoretical point of view. And we have Bu Anika here from Bank Jago. She's the commissioner of Jago, which is a native digital banks. And we also have Pak Arga here from BRI, and he's the Chief Information Technology Officer, if I'm not mistaken. So I think we're going to have a lot of information about how technology is being implemented in real banking industry these days, especially in Indonesia. So if I may have some help, can you please display the presentation? Oh, well.
Panitia can show the...
Yeah, still going. Okay. Okay, I think it's there. Still loading. Okay, so basically these days, we have a lot of IT information technology advancement in general, but since 2019, this digital transformation and IT development is really moving very fast. It's because of the pandemic itself, right? It's because of the pandemic. Yeah, okay. It's because of the pandemic. So in general, I can say that there are at least some advancement in IT. The remote working, AI, and also cybersecurity, quantum computing, edge computing, blockchain, AR and VR, and also green IT. And this development is here to stay. So it's not only because of the pandemic we have such advancement, but this technology is staying with us. So it will become or already become part of our daily activities. Okay, so if you talk about in general, we have plenty of IT advancement. And I would like to focus more if we go through each of this, let's say green IT. So green IT, I think this is one of the main function, also the possibility of building a sustainable environment. Yeah. So building a green data center now has also become one major issue. I'm sorry, I think I'm trying to control this, but I think the connection is not really that good. So connection is also one of the problem here in technology. Yeah. So there will be some delay here. I'm trying to control my presentation from my mobile phone, but seems that we have some delay here. Okay. Now, these days, we really focus in the area of AI. We heard a lot about AI, and I think BRI and also Bang Jago has been using a lot of AI technology these days to provide their digital services. So what is actually AI? Yeah, AI is basically just a technology that is continue to evolve, and it's trying to actually mimic human capability in thinking. And we try to put in this human capability in thinking into our computer systems. So automation is one of the key factor of AI. And again, a lot of industry these days is especially banking. I think really rely on AI these days, because a lot. Yeah, later on, Pak Arga maybe will be able to tell us more about this. Yeah, because we cannot catch up with all the transaction number that is increasing in general. I think it's not really possible for a human to do all the analysis, all the complex task, and we need help from machines, or in this case it's computer, right? So there's actually a lot of subsets of AI. So if we usually hear about AI, what I would like to let everyone know is about its subsets. AI contains of many things, many area. We have so-called as machine learning. We have cognitive computing. We have natural language processing, NLP. This is not neuro-linguistic programming. We have two different terms of NLP, ya, Ibu dan Bapak. We have NLP, natural language processing, and another NLP is neuro-linguistic programming, which is not AI at all. So NLP and AI is natural language processing. We also have computer visions, robotics, expert system, knowledge representation, and also reasoning. These are subsets of AI. So if we talk about AI, we as a human being, we need to have all of this capability actually. And trying to implement this, especially in industry or in banking and finance, is really can be helpful for the business to grow, basically. So if we check one by one, what is actually machine learning? Machine learning is an area of AI that can help people to find hidden pattern from our data. So if we talk about data analytics, it's actually based on machine learning. We know that banks or almost every industry, we collect data all the time. The thing is, most of the time, this data is not being analyzed at all. So we just collect data and keep it, and maybe one day we use it for audit or for something else, but we rarely analyze this data so it can be used to help us making plans, taking decisions, and so on and so forth, or maybe even to understand our customers. That's about machine learning. Another thing that is currently really becoming a trend is about the NLP. So if you have used ChatGPT or maybe Bart from Google, that is actually based on NLP, natural language processing. This is how our computers these days can understand human language in general. So 20 years ago, maybe, if you want to talk to the computer, you have to use machine language. You have to be able to know how to program. These days, it doesn't do like that anymore, right? So you can just write questions. Yeah, you can just write queries using our daily language, and the computer can understand it. And it's NLP, the ability of computer to understand human language. Okay, another thing that I would like to go through, maybe expert systems. This area of AI can help human making decisions, can help computers making decisions or making suggestions for decisions, so it can help humans, or especially managers or top managers in companies or in bank to make plans and so on and so forth. So basically, all of these subsets of AI are now available. It is easy to access all of these subsets: machine learning, NLP, computer vision, robotics, and so on and so forth. So how can this be used for, especially in banking, actually? Okay, so now AI in banking. I would like to give some example of how this AI is being used in banking. For instance, experts, or maybe NLP, let's say NLP. Creating a chatbot or maybe a customer support, some sentiment analysis, fraud detection, yeah, market analysis and credit scoring. This is all based on NLP, right? So this is based on NLP. Banking has been using this. I think Bank Jago and also BRI and other banks, big banks in Indonesia, they're already implement NLP in banking. And this can actually really help the banks to get more close to the customers, provide better service, and so on and so forth, right? Some insight, if we would like to see, let's take an example in the banks in USA. Okay. This is the case in the United States, how AI is being implemented in banks. The first one, almost 50% of the banks are using AI for risk assessment. And then the second one is financial research or analysis. The lowest one, which is still above 10% or maybe around 15%, is they're using AI. Oh, sorry, the image is, yeah. Maybe around 18%, they're using AI for sales. So now banks in the United States, they've been using AI in every different way they can, or in daily business operation. Yeah. Same, if we talk about how AI is being implemented in financial technology, the same case, AI is also being, oh, I think we lost connection. Is it? Oh, okay. Sorry. Sorry about that. Again, it's a connection problem. Okay, so anyway, fintech is also using AI for predictive analytics. Again, the main function, one of the main function of AI is actually we want to be able to understand hidden patterns and then can build a model from these hidden patterns that we can use it for some predictive or some decision-making process. Okay. I will have to wait for a while maybe to get this screen. Oh, okay, yeah. So that's some graphics about how AI is being used in financial technology. Data mining, lending, and credit basically are relying on AI. How the credit assessment is being done these days, and biometrics. Some ATM maybe. We have used biometrics instead of using PIN. So face recognition or fingerprint recognition to replace our personal identification number. So yeah, this is the real case of how AI can be used. Okay, I will catch up a bit. Now, what is the impact actually? Yeah, for sure, it can help banks to transform their business, the way they do business, the way they provide services, right? And one main question that is almost of the time rising is, will human be replaced by this artificial intelligence? There's a huge debate actually, even between the scientists or the researchers in this AI area. Will it replace human beings? Will AI one day replace human beings? Now, I will not talk about in general, but especially in banking, I believe that it's not there yet. Okay, so AI, at least until maybe 10 or 15 or maybe 20 years ahead, will still be a support for this industry. It will not really replace human beings, because there are some area especially in banking industry, that still need human expertise, such as relationship management. We cannot rely building relationship management and human trust using computers. While banking and finance is really a matter of it's a business of trust actually. We built this business based on trust. So the other one is about negotiation. If you're dealing with a person or huge company, negotiation, communication, and leaderships, will also become a challenge, and machine cannot replace human capability in this area. The other one is about ethical and moral judgment. So this is also, machine is only, they only know 0 and 1, yes or no, true or false. But sometimes ethics is beyond that. Sometimes we need to stand in this gray area. So yeah, again, even though we are sure that this technology, it really can transform and provide better service for the industry. But if some people are worried about human being replaced by this thing, it's not there yet. It's not there yet, especially in banking. Maybe in some other industry, such as this newly operated LRT. Yeah, it's pure AI. There's no trained pilot for this. The train is just the passengers in the train. There is purely AI, because when you operate a train, you don't have to deal with leadership. You don't have to deal with negotiation. It's just the way that you have to stop at the station, then you stop. You speed up, then you speed up. There's nothing related about communication skill and also negotiation skill. But in banks and finance, that's a totally different story. Yes, AI can help. Yes, IT can help transforming the business. Bu Anika later on maybe we'll talk about inclusivity and so on and so forth. But still, human are needed in this industry. Okay, so the last part, yeah, it's just some key takeaways, I think. So yes, AI is transforming the banking industry. It can automate process, enhancing customer experience, and also enabling data-driven decision-making. I think this is very important. AI can also automate some routines and provide some data insight. And also, the thing is, we still need human to operate this. So again, we always hear all the time that the man behind the gun that matters, actually. So this is the same. To implement AI or other IT advancement in banking, people still play the main role, the key role in this. We can have a very sophisticated technology or AI, the most expensive computers and server or data centers. But if the people behind this technology cannot operate and cannot make the most of it, then still it will not give us anything at all. So maybe later on we'll hear how BRI and also Bang Jago accommodate this challenge about people, because now they're adopting the state-of-the-art technology, and how the industry in Indonesia in particular can upgrade the people in banks so they can adopt with this high-end technology. And again, incorporating AI thoughtfully and ethically, it can drive innovation and competitiveness. So we need to find a good collaboration between people and technology in this case. So I think that's all from me. In general, I think we will hear more from Bu Anika and also Pak Arga and also from Prof. Raja, and about the current trend and also how the implementation challenges in industries, especially. Thank you. Good morning, and I'll give it back to Bu Mardiana.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Yayo. I said that it stopped in 15 minutes, sir, and you write in 15 minutes. Thank you. Okay, this very interesting presentation because we talk about the opportunity and challenge using AI in banking and other financial institution. Okay, thank you, Prof. Haryadamar Putra. And then we move to the second panelist from Professor Ahendra M. Sonar, Indian Institute of Technology. Panitia, is this ready? Join to the Zoom. Okay.
Yeah, good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning, Prof. Rajahendra.
Good morning.
Okay.
Good morning. Thanks for inviting.
Okay, thank you. I will read the CV of Prof. Rajendra before. Okay, Prof. Rajendra got the Ph.D. from Computer Science, Department of Computer Science, U of Pune University, and currently Professor of Information System and Technology at SGM IIT, born December 2018, by skill level of 14A. And total more than 32 years mixed experience teaching, research, consulting, entrepreneur, software leader and development, architecture, and software product development. Prof. Rahendra, you have about 15 minutes to presentation and time is yours, sir.
Thank you. So can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So I have made a lot of slides, but I'll just keep some of the slides, so my agenda quickly is to how the technology has evolved. And I think a previous speaker has already talked about the technology, especially more focusing on artificial intelligence. However, I will be covering other technologies like IoT, with 3.0, Industry 4.0, how they are actually changing the scenario. Okay, the changing digital landscape and domain of change. Who are the digital masters? This very interesting survey done by Harvard, professors, and there's a book on leading digital by them. So I've taken some slides or some material from there. Then what is so specific to the banking? Because digital transformation is almost everywhere. Everybody is actually trying to transform themselves using the digital technology, state of the art. And especially how the banking is different than conventional like businesses and so on. Okay, and how banking firms are leveraging technology, like it's already talked how AI being used and so on, and what are the implications and challenges. So I'll just quickly run through some of the slides which actually tell what has happened, what is changing. So if you look from the if you go back in 1960s or even earlier than that, the things have moved quite a bit, like right from mainframes to what we are today. So we are talking about like the things have moved to standalone PCs. Then we have client server computing. Then you have internet and intranet based services. Then mobile computing. Then we have robotic process automation, service oriented architecture, cloud computing. And then we have state of the art like AI, ML, agent for computing, industry 4.0. We have IoTs, blockchain, 5G, 3D printing, and web, and all these are changing the way the things are done. And in fact, if you see the technology trend, it was more monolithic and functional, like specific to a particular functional. Then it moved to enterprise level. A lot of ERP solutions came in 90s, and in fact, in banking, core banks, a lot of banks, at least in India, also started automation in somewhere in 90s. This one, and I think most of the banks they have now centralized banking, core banking solution in place. So it has made individual citizens or individual customers as a part and parcel of overall system. And then system became more collective and collaborative. And now if you see the current scenario, the technology is everywhere. It's like it's loosely coupled, a lot of players inside the this one. So it has moved from more closed ownership, on premise product based silos, centralized, to more open distributed cloud based. It's scalable, then mobility, subscription based. So a lot of things have changed over almost 30 to 40 years. Similar, if you look at the data side, it's changed, like right from file-based system to database management system to data warehouse and data mart, big data. And then we have, data lakes, taking care of everything. So data was limited, structured and fragmented, but data is now very huge, especially social network generates huge amount of data, or web 2.0 and so on. So you cannot just manage with the conventional system. That's why people have come with different technologies, which actually can manage that kind of technology well and so on. This slide just tells what are the, because when you talk about digital transformation, the leadership plays very important role, and it is changing, like IT person is not an IT manager, he's an IT leader and strategist, he should know about the business and what value it can, technology can bring. uh, the IT manager, they have to understand the market and leverage ecosystem and have to be innovative and, see the competitive advantage and so on. This slide talks about how the leadership has changed, is more as an IT as a function to more like a business and leadership. And if you see on the right hand side, a lot of people are talking about digital first as a new normal, that everybody they starts with the digital. And in fact, in technology, it's blessing in disguise. Moment more you start late, more advantage you have the state of the tech, our technology. What I mean here, suppose today somebody starts a banking, organization, with a lot of technologies available. You don't have to carry the legacy system and so on. You can directly start with the state of the art. Then be ready to be, disrupted. In fact, in finance, a lot of disruptions are happening in Speedway, be resilient, then move from more capex to opex, because cloud computing helps you to move from your on-premise resources to, resources somewhere else, so you don't have to pay upfront cost on IT infrastructure. You can just rent it or you can subscribe it based on your requirement, and it helps in scalability. If your business grows, you can actually pay more, then explore new business model, rapid experimentation, build digital capabilities. And again, it's already talk automation plus robotics, rise of devices, virtual digital worlds. Then some people are trying to combine physical plus digital, especially in a retail scenario. Can you have an experience, physical and digital experience seamless? Network and core competency, data is everywhere, and another thing is, like, if you read a lot of digital transformation literature or books or case studies, a lot of organizations are building their own platform, because platform makes everybody on the same page. You can say, for example, let's LinkedIn as a platform. So onboarding becomes much easier. So like recently we have gone through one of the Deutsche Bank's, demo. They have actually developed their own platform where they have put all the applications, all the stakeholders on the same page, so that you don't have to access different systems. It's just one platform, which makes it accessible everything. This is just a quick glance what has happened over the period, like more manual business to more automation. Okay, so a lot of manual work has been changed to more automated. A lot of physical products have moved to digital ones. A book and other example is, this one. Similarly, if you look at other, like manual asset management to smart asset management, decentralized manufacturing to more decentralized 3D manufacturing, then centralized printing to more personal printing, like centralized physical meeting to virtual meeting, and again from the coding point of view, it was like a monolithic code, but now people are talking about more microservices. So you don't have to develop an entire app on the same, like a complete big code, but you can actually divide into smaller part and you can make them microservices. Then other example is like, theater, cinema theater. Now it has changed to more personal viewing, thanks to Netflix and Amazon Prime. And this one you can watch wherever you want, whenever you want. You can watch the things of your choice. The place doesn't matter, the time doesn't matter. So it has changed completely. This one. Similarly, like from web point 1 to web point 2 to 3, then on-premise IT to cloud. So that why I'm showing this, because this has changed the way the businesses are done, and it's actually bringing in a lot of players in between. It's making the things more granular. So what I mean here, suppose if you take a book and you actually convert that into a PDF format or even a web-based format, the advantage is you can actually access whatever you want to. You can search it better. You can just pay for only, I think Kindle is a good example, or Google Playbook. You can just read the book online. You don't have to actually buy it physically, or you can just pay for particular based on the subscription model. Like you want to subscribe for a 1 month, you can just read it. This one. So this has completely changed. The new models have come and so on. So in general, like what is a digital transformation? Like this is in general sense, like what is a potential impact? And if you see various It's almost 100 trillion. And again, what are the primary technologies which are look, IoT, AI, cloud computing, then big data. In fact, we call as a ACID, artificial intelligence, cloud, data, and IoT put together. They're creating a huge impact. In fact, I believe that IoT AI is a deadly combination, because IoT gives a lot of sensors, just like we have our organs, but our brain synthesize. So AI gives brain to IoT, so that these devices can be managed, they can be synchronized, they can intelligently connect to each other and do a lot of things and so on. Okay, I'll just quickly take you through like some of the surveys done. This is from Harvard Business School, and what they are talking about, like if you want to be a digital master, so basically digital masters are the people or the technology leaders who have digital leadership as well as technology capabilities. They have both, and what it actually brings in significant increase in profits, productivity, and performance. And a lot of case studies, if you look into digital transformation, they talk about customer engagement, optimizing all the business processes, and providing the business model. You can just get so for the time, I'll just skip some of the stuff. I'll just take you to some of the what they have done. They have divided the companies. I think these are all companies having more than 1 billion turnover. So they divided company into 4 quadrant. On the top list, these are the people who have high digital capability but less leadership capability. And if you look at the top right, digital masters, you can see the organizations, those who have achieved the digital capabilities and digital leadership capabilities also, because you need both. If you have the technology but if you don't have leadership, it's not going to help. Or you have leadership but you don't have technology, it's also not going to help. So you should have both leadership capabilities as well as digital capabilities, this one. So if you look at like transformative digital vision, strong digital governance, many digital initiative generating business value in measurable way, and strong digital culture. This again important, to adopt the technology, your organization should actually adopt the technology, this one. Okay, and they divided into, and then they found out now those who are digital masters, what is their revenue generation efficiency, what is their profitability. You can clearly see it's 26%, market valuation it increases, and so on. Okay, and again, if you see this, like they have put banking is on the top left. They're already on the using the technology extensively and so on. Okay, so I'll just quickly just skip some of the slides. So what is so specific about the banking? If you bring in banking in the context, so primarily banking is more service based and in soft form. In the sense, what I'm talking about in soft form, it's not like manufacturing, car manufacturing or device manufacturing or services like agriculture or something. It's mostly in the soft form. It's basically it's currency, but now that currency is also changing in more in a digital form. So little physical good except currency, notes, instruments, and documents, compared to other industry. So it's almost touches everyone irrespective of demographics, and every citizen needs banking services, wide variety of demographics, geographic spread, and so on. Then security and privacy of the data are major concerns at local, network, national, and across the global level and across the value chain. Because when money goes from one point to another point, you have to look into all security and other aspects. Compliance is something very important, because typically banks or financial institutions are highly regulated and they need a lot of compliance and risk management also, because the money is involved. Suppose as a bank, when you are giving a loan, you need to assess the borrower's risk or borrower's credit worthiness very carefully and so on. Then another peculiarity about banking systems, it connects multiple players. You must be knowing there are a lot of players, payment networks, then ATMs, switches, payment gateway, fintech companies, and so on. It has become more it's not just a bank and like credit card companies, but there are a lot of intermediaries which are like national payment gateways play very important role when it comes to settlement and so on. And basically no end-to-end transaction in the sense between parties, but there are a lot of intermediary parties in between, multiplayer player like such as credit card companies, payment partners, settlement. So this makes a little bit complex kind of scenario. And so when you talk about like primary service based, then you have more automation, chances of less entry barrier, especially competition can be higher. and there's a lot of opportunities to automate, like basically to easier to digitize. It can be grand customization, personalization, all these things using the state of the art technology can be used. But when it comes to compliance, like more spending on the technology, providing security and privacy, then higher spend on the technology because you have to manage regulatory compliance, reporting, integration with other technology, and so on. Then adapting to open standard and APIs, because whole world is actually moving to APIs. You can have a smaller services connecting to each other so that you can have an end-to-end activities done, and so on. Okay, so like from legacy to more open banking, the things are changing. So what I've done, like I just quickly, I think it's just 2 minutes, I'll just finish. So most of the trends which are similar in general in many organizations, like many organizations are looking for operational efficiency and productivity, customer experiences, moving from more capex to opex, then offering new business model, reconfiguring the existing one, new revenue model products, creating innovation lab center of excellences so they can actually rapidly experiment the things and so on. Okay, and some of the like if you see the trend, global trend, like this is an interesting you can read this McKinsey report. They have given a lot of application and a lot of digital initiatives by various banks and where it is going and so on. So especially if you look at this simple, this one, it says Indo Crescent. It talks about the countries and where they are. So how it talks about like banking penetration in Indo Crescent countries is the lower than rest of the world, and that means there is a lot of chance, because if you have the technology in place, you can actually make the people on board very fast. Like in India, there are a lot of initiatives, especially on a fintech side, and a lot of people are actually on board now, and they are like there are a lot of payment wallet vendors are also there, which actually make the entire financial ecosystem more cost effective, more efficient. You can even now buy the things which are like in Indian rupees cost you 10 rupees or something kind of there are a lot of case studies, but since because of time I'm just stopping here. So I think I have exhausted my almost exhausting my 15 minutes, so I'll just stop here and take a question later. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor Rahindya. Give it applause for you. Okay, this very interesting presentation. So we can talking about how the development of information technology, so we can access anytime about banking services anywhere. So we can support the customer experience, personalization, customization, and putting all into one platform and using any kind of technology. Okay, thank you very much. And we now move to the third panelist, Ibu Anika Faisal. Okay, Ibu Anika Faisal, Komisioner Bank Jago Indonesia. We have about 10 minutes, Ibu, for presentation, and time is yours. Okay, sorry, I will read the CV of Ibu Anika before.
It's okay. Nothing much.
Yes.
Okay.
Education undergrad degree from the Universitas Indonesia, experience in PT Bank Jago as commissioner 2019 until now. And she also active in Indonesian Association of National Bank as Secretary General since of 2019. Okay, thank you. Ibu, it's time is yours.
Good morning, everybody. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It was a pleasure to be here among colleagues from Perbanas Institute, as well my fellow panelists, Pak Arga, Pak Harsha. Pleasure and appreciate being invited here. Thank you also, Pak Harsha and Professor Raj has given a very good introduction as to I'm not an IT person, so probably just having years of experience working in a bank, I actually felt that this is the best time for me to sort of live in a way that I started my career in a very manual model processing banks. And nowadays I'm learning, I'm actually living a journey and learning as to how to sort of moving. What banks today, what I learned about banks today is totally different from the banks where I start my career. Totally different process, technology, people, and everything. So, but the question is perhaps why is the adaptation of a digital bank in Indonesia in particular is in a way, I would say, on a better side in terms of, at least in Asian, if we see, I felt that Indonesian, like for me, if we go to Europe or US, probably even more like their services is so lame. That's how I put it. You know, for us, it's very easy to open an account, to do transaction, and with all this BI fast and also this connectivity with API and everything, banking has become less of a hassle for Indonesian market. But go everywhere else, I don't think we are, I would say we are on a better side in providing digital services to our people. And I think why, you know, if you want to ask why, I think first of all, Indonesian mobile or smartphone penetration is very high, above 80%. Almost everybody have a smartphone, right? And that in itself have providing a fertile ground, yeah, for banking services to be delivered through technology in a way. Second, I think after the crisis, the Asian crisis in 1997, 2000, many small banks are actually moving towards more of a retail segment. There are few big banks who would able to serve the corporate commercial, but the rest of the industry mostly servicing the retail sectors. Combination because obviously Indonesian growth is spurred from retail, domestic consumption, right? And also because that's where the market is. There are more SMEs player, there are more retail consumption services that is being, you know, service needs to be served. So in that sense, for small medium banks, the challenge to be able to serve Indonesian market with its challenging geography is actually how do we minimize cost to serve? Can we imagine we serve market in Papua, head office in Jakarta, you have a small branch there, but you have to have people, finding a talent, building, I think Pak Arga here knows more than I do, you know, how challenging it is to manage a vast network in Indonesia, physical network. And therefore, it has been like many years for the small and medium bank, we are challenged with how, while the margin has been compressing because of the economics, you know, because the economic bank's margin has been pushed down from time to time. So we have less of a margin. The cost of credit remains. The only element that we can manage is OPEX, because cost of credit is an element of risk outside the bank, right? It's whether or not the customer pays. So the OPEX is the element, CAPEX and OPEX is the element. And Prof. Raj has mentioned, you know, how technology enabled moving from CAPEX to OPEX, for instance, right? So that's why in Indonesia, technology, digital technologies actually comes as a savior for the small and medium bank, because with that technology, we have a chance to grab some market. Otherwise, it's very hard for the smaller and medium bank to be able to serve the market with physical. So the non-physical market becomes, or the technology has become unenabled from the banking perspective to serve, yeah, to serve. That's one. Obviously, there are big capex in the beginning, but you know, technology enabled, you know, in serving more with less at the end of the day, right? Now, from the customer perspective, digital banking is also in a way help for the customer, because again, can you imagine if you have only 10,000, 15,000 rupiah and you want to deposit it to the bank, you need to take ojek or microlet, which probably costs more, right? So in a way, technology, obviously nowadays Indonesia, that's why we see a lot of cash transactions still in the you know, in the mass market, because again, geographically, if you have to go somewhere, not only it's probably hard for them to leave their house, but also they will be costly. That's still a challenge that is not being solved. How do we move from still a cash society to more of a non-cash society going forward? I think BI has introduced QR and a lot of other means of payments to help reducing the sort of cash transaction. But still, I think because of the economics, the value of the transaction, which is so small, then it's very challenging to find the right technology to be able to really serve the Indonesian market with its scale. So having said that, that's why a lot of, you know, digital bank is embraced. Digital banking is sometimes is terms that is being overly used, yeah. But at the heart of it, digital bank is a bank, yeah. So let me just go through quickly about what are the benefits, what are the challenges, and from the customer, from the bank, and especially what are actually inside the digital bank itself. What is it that we need to build when we say, when we talk about digital banking? So let me just go through a couple of slides here to help. Saya nggak bisa ke situ. Okay. Oh. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly. I will not talk about a lot of statistic here, because I think probably some of it you can find elsewhere. But let me talk about benefits. When we talk about benefits, Prof. Raj also mentioned about the technology itself more towards more open network, open access, open banking. In itself, in a way, it will provide comfort from the customer. Yeah, we talk about comfort in a sense that we are now very used to transact anytime 24/7. You know, you wake up, you want to order your flights, you can do that. But the banking itself is not why nobody wakes up in the morning, I want to go to the bank. But I wake up in the morning, I remember I have to pay for tuition for my school, I have to order tickets. So it's the lifestyle that demands a banking services, not the other way around. So when we talk about lifestyle, then people want to be able to do their own things anytime, right? In the past, you have to wait for the banks to open to go to the bank. Then you have to line up. You have to fill in so many documents, etc., etc. While now today, you can start doing things from the comfort of your bedroom. You can do it in the office. You can do multitasking, you know. So many comfort is being provided by having a technology embedded in the bank, in the banking services. The second, we talk about features. Features is, you know, nowadays, again, customization. Sorry, customization perhaps later. But features is more and more, there are banks who would be servicing the customer, focusing on the bank products, but there are also banks like, for instance, like Bank Jago, we are embedding ourselves into the customer's journey, into the ecosystem. Yeah. So in that sense, when the customer wants to do their things, they can do it. And the features in a sense, in the past, when we talk about we are having, for instance, a savings account, everybody will have the same limit, everybody will have the same way of doing things. But nowadays with technology, we are enable customization, tadi ya, personalized model services, looks even to some extent for your own. Security, obviously, security comes as a benefit and a challenge, because in one hand, it also provides more security, because then you can sort of like making sure, as long as you are, again, reading, you know, putting the complex password, things like that, then you can you know, secure your account. Self-service and control. You can, again, whenever, wherever you want to access your account, you can do that. You can have card. You don't need to have card. You can connect your savings account to your investment account. All these things are all, you know, enabled by technology. And the last is the financial inclusion. When we talk about access, access is not only for those who are on the remote area whereby they don't have service, but there are also underserved. We talk about the millennials, we talk about the new generation of customers, whereby for them, you know, when I ask even my kids, you know, they don't know what it means to line up in a bank. They don't know how it feels to line up in a bank, waiting for an hour to be served. For them, whenever I want to do it, I have to do it. It's an instant gratification, which comes as part of the culture. So, and that also a challenge for the digital bank, because whenever it's delayed, they will like, people will start, yeah, they will start screaming in the net, putting in the Twitter and everything that the bank is lousy. But then, so the financial access itself is not only for the remote area, but also for this new generation. So digital banking is actually something also that we built for the future. And again, technology advancement is so fast and so unpredictable. So we just need to be alert as to how do we always, you know, bring ourselves up to the game. Now, when we talk about benefits, we need to also talk about the challenges, right? So, as I said, the technology adoption, it's very fast. In the past, we need to recruit a lot of developers, but now you have AI. You can have AI to help the developers develop a product. So you see how the technology adoption is changing rapidly, and we need to be, I always say that we need to be able to recalibrate and able to pivot anytime, you know, as an institution, as a company. Because again, if we late in catching up the technology adoption, we'll be late in the game. So that's what it is. Second, the digital maturity. Indonesia have a variety of segments and education level and understanding. So not everybody have the same digital maturity. We know nowadays in Indonesia, challenges is SocGen, social engineering, but also not only in Indonesia, I understand, also in China and elsewhere. Customer with more of a low digital maturity, unable to process or use digital banking service with full security embedded in it, because there's not understand. So that's why perhaps to some extent, physical branch is still perhaps needed in Indonesia. I don't believe in Indonesia you can have a bank without physical presence at all. I think some physical presence is still required. Second, personal relationship. Obviously, for the masses market, for the retail, you can do that. But for the wealth, sort of like the top tier, the wealth management, the commercial market, these are the place where how do you build? That's where AI and technology are not 100% able to serve all the market. There are still personal relationship that needs to be bring about for a certain segment of the customer. Organization, mindset, and culture. And I will talk about it later. What are the challenges inside the bank itself? How to combine these two sort of cultures between tech and bank. And the last is cybersecurity. It's cybersecurity at the end of the day. We have to continuously educate our customers about financial literacy. So it will become a common awareness. The bank has a role of updating or informing and make sure that we have our IT audit, our biometric, or cybersecurity and international standard security, and also public education. But the society also have a role. You can't have just bank to be responsible for the financial literacy. You need the customers, you need the society to understand how to protect their own account, yeah, for being used by other people. How do you protect your personal data? Nowadays, you know, like KTP for me, national ID is not personal data for me. I treat it as a public data because I bet you it's there everywhere. You know, you go to the store, they ask for your KTP. You go to the building, you need to give their. So you don't know how many people knows about your KTP. Don't tell password pins and everything. So these are a couple of things that you need to have the society to also bring about their own rules. Yeah. Now, and perhaps the last point that I would like to make is that it's about a bit delayed. Ya, ininya terlambat. I see. Is it going up, going down? I'm very sorry because my presentation is too much. I think I won't be able to meet the time if I try to. I know. Sorry, this is what so-called technology problem. But this is not the CIO function, right? Yeah. Yeah, I think I just wanna. Sorry. Now, so at the end of the day, as I mentioned in the beginning, a digital bank is a bank at the end of the day. At the heart of it, it's a bank. So we have to be able to do digital ways of doing things without compromising the fundamentals as a bank. So first of all, we have a full banking license. In Indonesia, we only have 2 licenses, Bank Umum and BPRs. So digital bank is part of commercial bank atau Bank Umum. There are no license for digital bank alone. So that's, I think, needs to be highlighted and understood. We don't have it yet, at least the law. I think it's good that we have the full banking license for digital bank that will enable us to provide a more variety of services. Yeah. And second, for us, for Bank Jago, what we do, how we provide our business model is that we will embed ourselves and partnering with ecosystem, because we believe the lifestyle is the one who drive the customer behavior. Yeah. So if we want to follow the customer journey, we need to understand their lifestyle. And the last one is that we are using technology based. We have a very limited number of physical branch. We do have physical branch, but we have a very limited physical branch, and we deliver everything more from a technology channel. Now, however, as a bank, and we have learned what happened to Silicon Valley Bank in the US, right? As a digital bank, you also cannot compromise your fundamentals, which is one being having a proper risk management. We have to understand our portfolio quality. We need to understand our risk-adjusted margin. We need to make sure we don't sell short in our services. Second is balance sheet management, liquidity and capital management. It's even more challenging. You know, in the past, liquidity, because in Indonesia, it's always been our problem about the mismatch in liquidity, because we all funded our credits from savings and deposit, which is probably like monthly or even now savings. You can take anytime, any day, 24/7. So the liquidity and capital management is very important. And the last one is the regulatory management, which is the healthiness level. We need to make sure our ratio being kept well, and how we provide a proper governance process surrounding our activities. So in that sense, in the bank, we have a lot of non-bankers, but we also have a traditional bankers like me to balance off the innovation. We want to be innovative, but we manage our fundamentals right. So you can only grow when you have a good, strong fundamentals to be able to grow more. With that, I conclude my presentation. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Big applause for Ibu Anika Faisal. I think this is very interesting, Ibu, because this is our sharing experience how Bank Jago face the inclusive economic transformation with digital banking. I think the track is very interesting, Bapak Ibu, because we have two panelists from academic and also two panelists from practitioner in banking. And the last, our speaker also share about how BRI, dari Bapak Arga, to face the digital transformation to more inclusive and sustainable BRI. Bapak Arga Raha, Director of Digital and Information Technology BRI. Okay, got the Master of Science Information on Technology, IBINSIS Carnegie University, and Bachelor of Information and Technology, BINUS University. Experience more than 20 years of experience of IT professional, and 20 of which are Indonesian Association National Bank as Deputy Head Operation. Okay, about 10 after 50 minutes for presentation, sir. In time is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Mardiana, for introduction, and thank you for Perbanas for allowing me to speak here in front of you. So glad to be here. Delighted to be here in front of invited along the honorable speakers online and offline. So thank you for this opportunity. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, everyone. Top of the morning to you all. I think, one of the benefits of speaking last is like the other speakers have done the heavy lifting for me, right? So that's one benefit for me. So at the risk of sounding like a broken record, I think we are definitely in the digital age, right? Everything. I think we are coming out of the pandemics for the past two and a half years of it, and we're out of it, thankfully, safe and sound. Most of us too. And then, but like the previous speaker has said, a lot of changes has happened, and most of it are done because of digitalization, right? And COVID specifically has hastened it all. we've experienced a tremendous change, and those changes gonna last, right? Because how helpful, how it has been changing our lives for the past few years. So all the technologies, I think Professor Raj previously said touch a lot of the technology and terms like super apps, cloud computing, AI, ML. Professor Aryo also said about this. So I'm gonna be concise and not touch about the details of this all. But rest assured that digital is here and it's nowhere. It is going nowhere. It's going to be more pervasive, and it's going to affect more of our lives moving forward, right? And all these changes are no more evident than in the numbers of transactions that being done today. The numbers has been increasing for the past few years, and especially for the past 3 years, it has been increasing like crazy, right? These are the numbers collected by Katadata, and this is also true in our bank in BRI, whereas our digital transaction numbers are shooting through the roof, right? And I think one of the numbers that I can be proud of, because I work for BRI, and BRI has for so long has been known for as a microfinance bank, right? We deal mostly with finance and especially microfinancing. We'll deal with the ultra micro and micro segments. But one thing that I'm proud of is the number that shows that our journey that we have taken with our customers for the past, say, 5 years has been successful. And this is shown by the number that said that our branch-based transactions is now less than 1%. Less than 1%. We process roughly around 90 million transactions per day on a good day, on any good day, and less than 1% of that happens in our branches. So I think this is a good sign that digitalization is here, and even the lower segments, people of the lower segments has embraced digital to a lot of extent, right? These are numbers. So 1%, less than 1% is done in our branches, but the rest is done digitally. And by digital, I mean this is done through our ATMs, our EDCs, our mobile banking applications, and our agen brilling, our Laku Pandai agents, and also a large extent of this number happens through our APIs. Open banking and open APIs is here, and it's here to stay. Professor Raj has touched upon open banking a bit, and I think this is going to be the most the most potent market in the future. And this number has largely been propelled by our advances in terms of digital technology, the introduction of technology and digital technology within towards our customers. I think Bu Anika really said about how digital is making things more comfortable or easier for people, and this has shown by I think we're going to take the example of our mobile banking app, Brimo, at this point. And here the numbers in front of you shows that the number of users are steadily increasing, 50% year on year compared to last year. And the finance transaction almost doubled, and so does the transaction value as well. And this is an application that's customer facing, right? What about the internal facing app? We also introduced digitalization within the company as well, and we're trying to digitalize our processes. And one of the example for this is our Brispot. Brispot is our loan origination app. It's used internally by our relationship managers and our credit officers. And this has allowed us to actually speed up the processes. This application was introduced back in 2019, right before COVID, and so we're lucky to have done that in the past, because through COVID, this is the application that actually allowed us to actually increase our loan disbursement, even though all the mobility restrictions were there. A lot of restrictions physically was put out by the government, right, just to make sure we were safe. But despite all that, Brispot, the application, the internet application, allowed us to do a lot during the pandemic, and it has allowed us to speed up processes. In the olden days, loan processes usually take like 2 weeks. But nowadays we can do it like in 2 days, and I think for the most part, for the most type of credit, the simple ones, we can do it in 2 hours. And this allowed us to help, allow us to actually push disbursement across the nation, right? And these are the examples of how we are actually moving into digital and how digital has helped us. And one other thing is that we're also partnering up with several other companies, namely Pegadaian and PNM. Back in 2021, we joined forces with them. We formed what's known as the Holding Ultramicro. And this has allowed us to serve more, right? We joined forces to serve the more of the Indonesian people, especially the ultra micro players, ultra micro businesses. And we're still expecting this to extend more into the market, because at this point we have like 30 million underserved ultra micro businesses. 18 is totally unserved. This is served by no one is serving them, but 7 million is served by friends and family. They are financed by borrowing from friends and family. And then what's saddening is like there are still 5 million of those businesses that are being funded by loan sharks with like breakneck rates, right? So these are the numbers that we're trying to attack, and by joining forces. And I believe that digital, we truly believe that digital is the way to go. And the reason for that is because of internal research. Internal research shows that the ultra micro people, ultra micro businesses have a different set of characteristics. We have found 7 different characteristics, and I'd like to point, these are the characteristics in front of you. But the 2 most prominent ones that's most interesting to me, it's the first and the 7th one. The first is the fact that the ultra micro business and players, they're no strangers to digital platforms. Although smartphone use for financial purposes is remains low. Okay, so they're not, like Bu Anika said, like smartphone penetration is really high, and the number of, I think the number of mobile phone subscribers is like more than the total number of people. That's see. But the use of those technology for financial purposes remains low. That's one, right? And the other one that's interesting is that for the ultra micro players, they still prefer banking via agents rather than directly through digital. There is this trust issue, right? I think Professor Haryo mentioned about how trust is still an issue within the Indonesian communities. And I think this shows that this jibes, this goes very well with the thesis that we have. So considering all these facts and characteristics, that's why we chose to go with a hybrid approach. Why hybrid? Because we believe this is the right combination of both the physical presence and the digital capabilities. We're introducing digital capabilities, right, with the application that I mentioned earlier. We're also building digital ecosystems, so to say. I think it's one of the premises brought by Bu Anika's Bank Jago as well. And then we're trying to combine this with the physical presence. We're combining with this with the number of branches. We currently have like 8,800 outlets throughout the nation. We have a lot of, even have like outlets that are put on ships. We have 4 of them roaming the outer islands of Indonesia. And then we also have mobile. And one other thing that we would like to spend time on is the fact furthering inclusion through the introduction of what we call Agen Brilling. Agen Brilling is a partnership model. It's a partnership model that allows us to extend our services throughout the communities using the partnership model. It's a fee sharing model basically, but this has allowed us to actually reach the communities in need of financial services. This allowed us to extend our services in a cost efficient way while helping the agents themselves to improve their welfare. And the number has clearly shown the performance. Last year, I think these are the Q2 numbers. This is the first half of this year. GTV is like 675 trillion. I don't know how this compares to Tokopedia and all, but I think we are confident enough. And the number of financial transactions you can see on the screen, right? And what makes us proud is that these are actually there in the communities. It exists within the communities that needs the financial services. We are there in 59, more than close to 60,000 villages. I think the number hovers. I think the total number of villages in Indonesia is around 77. So we're there in most of the villages. has helped us. And not only this, we're not only focusing on transactions, but we use these agents as a way for us to introduce financial literacy as well. We're with the help of these agents, this allows us to actually introduce the concept of say insurance. So taking care of how, you know, paying a little premium for your businesses will allow you to you know, continue on when something bad happens, right? So the concept that are elite for them for the most part of their journey, right? So this is how we're combining all this, and we still need a lot of physical, you know, like agents as well. Yes, we still need a lot of we still have like 60,000, more than 60,000 relationship manager, for example. So for those of you sitting in the backs, I assume you're students. We still need a lot of you coming into BRI. So rest assured, there's still a chance for you all. But you have to upskill, right? You have to upskill to be more well versed in digital. I think that's one key takeaway as well. So I think with that, I conclude my talk here, and I believe that digital is going to be the right way to moving forward. And again, with the right combination of both physical and digital, I think we're going to be able to help Indonesia to improve its financial literacy, financial inclusion, and we need to work more on the financial literacy as well. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Bapak Arga. Big applause for Bapak Arga. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, from this session, we learn a lot from Prof. Harya and Prof. Rajendra. We learn about how information technology development can supporting the banking for the sustainable and inclusive economy. And from Ibu Anika dan Bapak Arga, we learn about how several banking in Indonesia facing the digital transformation and inclusive economic transformation. Okay, so we now open the question and answer session. I will start from, there is a question from chat room. Yes, question to Ibu Anika Faisal. Okay, morning Bu Anika, I interest with your mention about adaptation matter for facing digital banking and related about organization, mindset and culture in terms of employer with the over 15-year-old. Gen X, baby boomer, how to drive them to willing and able to have digital skill? Yes.
In a way, how to upskill. I think
Yes.
that was Pak Arga already mentioned about upskilling. So yeah, interestingly, I think I'm also above 50. See. So that's why I'm also learning. I think learning has no, it's really your own self, motives in a way that not everybody, when we talk about digital age or digital technology or digital bank, it doesn't mean that everybody become a developer.
Okay.
So not everybody have to be able to become the programmer, right? I don't have any IT background. I don't understand IT, but I learned what API means, how API works. And those are learned, for me, is learning through working, through doing, to understand. So don't, never think that you are better, never think that you know everything, because the change that is happening today, it's our job to learn every day. I think that's the main job. So to upscale, it's important for us, first of all, to have a mindset. The mindset is to be able to unlearn and relearn. Meaning, when I understand about credit in the past and the credit today is totally different. Credit in the past, it's okay for you to sort of, for the bank to provide answer to the customer for a week. For SME, probably a week or two. Nowadays, 2 hours, 5 hours. How are you going to do that? With the help of scoring, obviously, there will be scoring, there will be data analytics. These are the tools that can be used using technology to help us. But you first, to be able to upscale yourself, you need to understand your roots, to understand your strength, right? So it doesn't mean when we talk about digital, you don't need people. You need people. but you have to be able to unlearn, meaning put everything that you know back and relearn, understand something new. Don't be afraid to try something new. Don't be afraid to, expose yourself to risk. Meaning, banking is all about managing risk. If you are avoiding risk, you will never be able to innovate. So you have to be able to take some risk, but understand how to manage it. And that only can be achieved by, again, learning all the way. I think that's what it is about upscaling.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Anika Faisal. And the second question is still in Zoom chat. Oke, panitia bisa dibantu? Yes, raise hand. So she or he can send the question. Raise hand.
May I?
Yes. Oh,
May I, please?
Ibu Milda. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Ibu Moderator, for this presentation. I'm interested with Prof. Yayo presentation. I would like to respond to Prof. Haria presentation. Pak Yayo, Prof. Yayo, Mas Prof. Yayo, which talk about AI and human capability, right, as one of the issue. I just want to curious about talking about human capability. So what is the contribution of educational system, educational formal system? Is human capability providing by education formal system, or you think that you agree with human capability is also can find in any area, no matter what educational system that she or he has? So, Prof. Yayo, please explore your opinion. Thank you.
Okay. Please later correct me if I get the question wrong. Yeah, Bu Milda. So I think the main question is do I think that the education system really have a great impact to the human capability in terms of AI? Okay, so if someone were to become an AI developers, so someone who actually really create AI in terms of programming computers and so on and so forth, definitely the education system is very important to build this capability. But in the other way around, as a user, as a human, as a user of AI, it's actually, I think there's no really specific education systems that needs to be taken by all the students to be able to understand and to use AI. So if I was asked, let's say, do I think AI needs to be a specific course in our education systems? Yes, if you want to be a developer. But if you are going to be a user of AI, that's the other way around, because AI is actually here to, let's say, automate process, to make those complex process look more simple to us. So it will actually encapsulate all the complication, the complicated process that happens behind the wall. AI is there to automate things, to provide faster and more reliable services. Again, but yeah, I think it will not replace human. Again, in most of the case, it will still not replace human, because if you learn about AI, AI is trained based on data. And one specific capability of human brain is we are able to learn by ourselves. So let's say if you learn how to ride a bicycle, maybe someone teach you, let's say your parents. But then after a while, then you can train yourself individually how to ride a motorcycle. So human brain has the ability to grow, to learn, to incrementally learning. Now in AI, usually this algorithm is being trained using a set of data, and then, yeah, if you want to upgrade the scale, you have to retrain. You have to provide more data. Of course, there are research that is provide the ability for our algorithm, for our computer to be able to retrain itself, but it's still in the stage of development. Most of the AI model is based on training. So again, Bu Milda, you don't need really, if you ask my opinion about, does it have to be inside our education system to build the human capability? Yes. Let's say for specific study program, let's say in IT, some robotics and maybe some engineering study program, yes, because AI will be there and they need the ability to develop and also to manage. But in general, I don't think awareness about AI is important. But again, the technical part, I don't think it's really matter, and I don't think it has to be given to all the students. Gitu Bu Milda ya.
Thank you, Mas Prof.
Most welcome.
Yeah, so maybe
Milda.
we can, so maybe we can discuss later. Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Haria. The last question from chat Zoom before I open for the question in floor. Okay, the emerging of technology are replacing the moral in banking discipline. How about the regulation from Bank Indonesia for this emerging technology and any regulation for utilizing this technology? Maybe Pak Arga can answer the question.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Yeah, it's a great question. Thank you for asking that. Yeah, the stance of the regulators for this emerging technology is it's a key factor, especially for us banking, right? Banking is one of the most regulated industry in the world, and surely has affected us a lot in the past. In the past, I've been a product manager in my previous career, and it's surely at that point, you know, the regulators were I mean, how do I put this delicately? You know, there might be regulators here somewhere. But in the past, we felt that the regulators at one point they're more lenient towards the newer entrance players, right? But they're being hard on us, the incumbents, so to say, because of, even though we have the I would say more mature risk risk management and stuff like that. But so we felt back then was very constrained, right? But fortunately, that posture has changed tremendously in the past few years, right? For example, the regulators, namely the OJK, the FSA, and the Central Bank, Bank Indonesia, has changed their stance towards the what's called like principle based, right? They're focusing more towards the risks and towards the customer part of the equation rather than just the rules and regulations. So that's a welcome change, and we felt that we felt that nowadays when we say when we talk with them for a new product, for example, it's firstly it's they're more open. We can feel that they're more receptive of newer technology. And then also the process is faster with the introduction of SLAs, and so I have to comment on the regulators on improving their stance, and this has allowed us, especially the incumbent banks, or all the respect ya Bu Anika, but all the incumbent banks are feeling more. This creates a more level playing field among the banks, and this is actually beneficial for the for the university people in general, right? For the customers, because now it can get, I mean, the incumbent banks are doing a good job at catching up to the digital entrance, right? For example, like a few years ago, Genius was the name here. that introduce a lot of digital technologies. But I think nowadays the bigger banks, the incumbent banks, are doing a good game of catching up, right? So that shows how we are actually benefiting. The customers actually the one that benefits from the better stance or from the regulators. I think.
Okay. Thank you, Pak Arga. Bapak Ibu, sound interested, but time is limitation, so I only open 2 short questions from the floor. Oke, Pak Adi dan Pak Acong. Pak Edi, I'm sorry. Oke, Pak Edi terlebih dahulu.
Thank you, Bu Mardiana. I will underline Mr. Graha, ya. Arga.
Yes.
Okay. We know every bank use IT, and we also realize that IT have to contribute to core business banking industry too much. Okay. But we know bank as highly regulated entity. What's the problem? We know OJK hobi OJK is changing regulation. For example, changing benchmark financial statement, benchmark of indicators financial. For example, bad debt, legal reserve requirement, capital adequacy ratio, and so on. Yeah, whereas changing one indicators is mean addition cost for bank. Okay, that is capital expenditure. So in my mind, every changing regulation, every bank dislike that. What's your opinion about that?
Okay, thank you.
Are you sure this is not a question for Bu Anika? No, but thank you, Pak Edi, for the question. And I think Bu Anika can help me with that later on. Yeah, Pak. Again, this is a question that I need to navigate very carefully here, right? Yeah, yeah, Pak. I mean, the banking landscape is changing rapidly, right? I mean, nowadays after 2 years of basking in the liquidity, right? Nowadays we truly feel the liquidity crunch. You know, I think this has been, I guess, promoted by the central bank's policy as well. But I think there are bigger things at stake here. But we understand why they have their stance, right? But I think. I guess what I would like to say, Pak, is like change is inevitable, right? And I think there are a lot of reasons for change for the regulators to enact changes. And I think for the most part, or if not all, it's for the greater good, I'd say, right? And as banks, we see this as a challenge. But I mean, even without the regulatory changes, the changes are abound, right? The market changes, or the policy, extra policy changes, how fiscal policy changes, how the economic landscape, the global economic landscape is changing day by day. Like Ukraine, for example, or like trade war, for example, right? So those, so I think what's the best course of action to do is like just to be able to do some horizon scanning. I guess you need to be able to predict to an extent what's happening in the world and then react accordingly. All the changes are there and going to happen for a reason, right? But if you react in a proper way and you prepare your institution to react and to respond accordingly, I think you'll be safe. And for IT specifically, the change in technology is way more fast. It happens more faster than the change in policy and economy, right? So I think IT itself is going to be able to to withstand this change. I think we're so used to change that we're adapting almost like on a monthly basis at least. But I guess that's the point. I hope that answers. Or Bonica probably will answer too.
Nobody likes changes. It's human nature. But without change, then there will be status quo. And if a status quo is happening, we don't progress forward. So that's the challenge. Second, regulation was meant to be one size fits all. And it's always be challenging. It may benefit some, it may not benefit for others. But I think going forward, just to add and amplify what Pak Arga already mentioned, right? I think in general sense, I've been a compliance director for more than 20 years. I think I have seen a lot of progress in the thinking of the regulators in Indonesia, despite banking being a highly regulated industry, and despite because banking is in a way holds a very fundamental responsibility of managing third-party funds. Thus, we need to be regulated more. Banking is also one of the most stronger financial sectors compared to others post-COVID. And that all happens because of the collaborative effort between the industry and the regulators. I think OJK and BI has been able to really listen to the innovation that required by the industry without having to forego the fundamentals that is required. So in some part, for instance, like the new product, OJK and BI is very progressive, in my opinion, even compared to its neighboring countries. But there are certain fundamentals when we talk about liquidity, we talk about capital, which I think OJK has said, no, you just have to do it. But I think it's for the greater good, as Pak Arga mentioned. Because at the end of the day, like for instance, capital, why 3 trillion? Even 3 trillion is not sufficient to be able to provide a sustainable business going forward. And therefore, OJK understand the importance of having a very strong capital, for instance, right? A very good accounting principles. You know, we complain when they ask the banks to start doing the PSAK, for instance, right? But we are benefiting from the early adaptation of this new international standard. Because then also, I think we are valued by the investors, yeah? And yeah, so I think I would say we are quite happy. We're quite happy. Obviously, there are always no perfection. There are things that they can do better. But I would say in general sense, industry is happy with the regulators in Indonesia. That would be my opinion.
Okay, thank you Bapak Arga dan Ibu Anika Fasiel. Last question, short question, okay? Pak Ajong, thank you.
Thank you, Bu Mariana, Bu Anika. And my question addressed to both of you, the practitioner, the bankers, because according to previous presentation from Pak Yayo, and also Prof from India, I thought, talking about the fast growing of AI. And AI will help us to make smooth and more faster in services. The banking, one of the benefit of the AI is the banking industry. I thought that in the future, the services that provided by the banking right now will be changed by the AI. So like me, for example, or the young generation like those come here, thinking that I'm individually can make my own bank. So my question is, with the fast growing of AI, will be the bank no longer exist, flourish, for example? And if not, how do you anticipate those challenge questions? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Silakan Pak Arga. Oh, Ibu dulu.
Yeah, Mas Achong, you're right. But again, nobody can, change is there. The technology advancement is there. AI is there. We can't say no to AI. We need to embrace, right? So when you ask whether bank would be still relevant, that's your question, right? I would say it's not the bank that is relevant. It's the banking services. So in a sense, you may not see it, but the banking services will always remain because the banking services is the only licensed institute that will hold the ability to collect third-party funds and advancing credit. So we have asset liabilities. There are no other financial institution who has that capability. But again, the question for banks today is exactly your statement. How do you remain relevant? So the question lies within the ability of the bank itself to understand the customer needs and behavior. We have to put the customer first. We need to understand our customer because at the end of the day, we are servicing institution. We are servicing. We need to understand who we are servicing, how they want to be services, when. So the business model of the bank, and you see today, there are a different model of bank. There are banks who trying to be or to build a super apps in itself. And I would say that for the bigger bank, that is doable because they already have a very large number of customers. They have their own data. They need to be able to retract from that data to understand the behavior and the needs of their customers. But for the smaller, medium banks, maybe that's not a viable option. And therefore, we need to find another option. For instance, for us, for Bank Jago, for instance, what we do is we collaborate. We collaborate with ecosystem, we collaborate with the lifestyle institution to be able to put ourselves present in those places. It doesn't have to be us, they don't have to visit us, but you can visit us in our neighboring partners. So that's how we do it.
To add to Bu Anika's point here, I believe it was attributed to Bill Gates. Yeah, he said that no, in the future, no one will need banks, but the people will need banking services. Right, banking will be there, but banks may not be. So I agree with Bu Anika in the sense that I think banking services will stay relevant, Pak, and AI will actually help that instead of actually wiping us out because AI is just a technology, Pak, and I think it will allow us to serve better, serve customers better. We will be able with AI. I think we will be able to to personalize our services. We will be able to provide better services and improve services based on the data as well. And I would like to remind you as well about the one point that I was making in the slide about the 7 characteristics, right? So at this point, people are still wary of transacting directly with banks through digital means. And one threat, there's this trust issue that's like an inhibitor to better digital transactions, right? So AI can actually help in this sense. One of the way we are exploring AI in the company in Iberia is actually to make our chatbots more lifelike, Pak, in the way that they respond to questions. They more we're seeing data that when we use canned messages, Pak, like templates and stuff, right? People immediately like detracts from the conversation. Yeah. So they actually immediately can sense that this is a robot I'm talking to, and I don't want to. I'm going to pursue some other avenue to talk to the bank, right? So these are the one of the ways that AI will definitely help. It will help us to be more lifelike. I wouldn't say it's like this is like duping our customers, but it will allow them to help themselves better with our tools and technologies. I think that's one thing that I would like to say. Thank you, Pak.
Okay, thank you, Bapak Ibu. This is very interested, but we have the time. Okay, so give the big applause again for the speaker. Thank you. And for the 5 e-wallet, we will give 3 questions from the Zoom. Ibu Novita Setiawati, Ibu Mia Ikawati, dan Ibu Meldawani. And 2 for Pak Acong and Pak Adi. Pak Edi, I'm so sorry. Pak Acong, you get 2 and 1 setting for me, yeah? Okay? Okay, thank you. Okay. Yes, thank you. Thank you for Pak Prof Haria, Prof Rajendra, Ibu Anika Faisal, and Bapak Arga. So I offer the time from Mas Adi again.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you to all the panelists and
Thank you.
moderator, Professor Haria Damar, Ibu Anika, Bapak Arga, and Professor Rajendra, long way from India, for the wonderful seminar and also discussion for this lovely afternoon.
Thank you.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, please big applause for all the panelists and for the moderator. And we have arrived at the final agenda on this seminar. And before we wrap up this event, there is some information related to the conference. The seminar certificate will be distributed via email for the registered participants. And following this seminar, we will proceed with the call for paper activities. In the afternoon session, also on the final session today's, we are going to have the International Community Services Program that will be open registration at 12:30 p.m. So, and once again, the committee extend all gratitude and thanks to all sponsors who have supported and the success for this event. And as the event house, I would like to express my appreciation to all the panelists and audience. And thank you very much once again and have a wonderful day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Sudah foto ya? Do we take a pictures, please? No?